Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking yet another video, and welcome if you're new. My name is Teddy G, and on this channel I like to dive into what it's truly like to run a clothing brand, as well as drop in tips, tricks, gems, and all of that good stuff. I've said it myself, and I know a lot of people here on YouTube say Shopify is the best platform to use for your e-commerce business. But when we set up our store on Shopify, we are all under the understanding that Shopify does take a transactional fee for every single transaction that goes through the platform, as well as their monthly subscription. And Shopify lets you know, it's a percentage and it's this much, but how much does Shopify actually take for every transaction? Because if I'm honest with you, I've been using Shopify for a while and I haven't really seen or understood how much they actually take. And the other day I decided to sit down and write down some numbers and see how much they take for each transaction. And I actually wanted to just sit here, share it with you guys so that you can get a good and clear understanding of how much money Shopify takes for each transaction that is made on their platform. And then you can decide for yourself whether using Shopify is actually for you, which, in all honesty, I still stand by Shopify. I love it, and I will have it linked down below if you do want to sign up. But I also want to be absolutely transparent with you and share with you guys some figures. So straight off the bat, I am on the basic plan, which is the cheapest plan that Shopify has, or one of the cheapest plans that Shopify has. And I think this plan it's more than okay. It's good for those that are, starting out or are, in the thick of their business, but they wouldn't quite consider their business to be like a medium-sized business or a large business. It's still classified as a small business. So the basic plan is perfect for you and I, people like me and you that are, starting out or are, in the small business phase of our clothing brand or candle brand, whatever it may be. So the basic plan costs me £25 per month, and when you sign up, they let you know what the transactional fees are going to be, and Shopify says that it's 2% plus 25p. Now, in all honesty, I actually don't really understand what that means. If anybody has got a good understanding of what that actually means, then please let's talk about it in the comments, because I would like to know. Because when I now look at the fees that they actually take, I feel like it doesn't really correlate, unless I'm just being dumb. So the 2% plus 25p is for online transactions, and if you use their POS, so like say if you're having a pop-up shop or you use Shopify in your brick and mortar store, the fees for that are 1.7% plus 0 pence. So those are for those in-person purchases. And I apologize if you hear any background noise. I feel like I always have to apologize, but yeah, office neighbor, fake wall. That 2%, that 1.7%, it doesn't sound like much, but let's actually dive into some of the transactions that I have received recently, and I'll share with you guys how much the customer paid, how much I actually received, and what Shopify calculated the fees to be. So the first order value that I'm going to share with you guys was for an order that amounted to £130 and 52 pence. Now, after everything was said and done, I actually received £123 and 75 pence. And this was paid directly into my bank account within 3 to 5 days. This was an international order, so an order from the US of A, and Shopify calculated these fees to be £6.77. So Shopify took £6.77 from this transaction that was made on my website. The next order, I believe, was a UK transaction. I'm based in the UK, just as a FYI, and the order value was £50 and 40 pence. From that £50 and 40 pence, I actually received £49 and 14 pence. So Shopify actually took £1 and 26 pence, which doesn't actually feel like a lot, to be fair. I didn't mind this transaction, to be fair. The next transaction was another online transaction, and it was in the UK as well. The customer paid £76 and 50 pence, and I received £73 and 88 pence, which means the fees were £2.60 2 pence. Another transaction that was made via my website was for £90 on the dot. I received £87.95, which means they took a transactional fee of £2.05, and this was a UK order. Another transaction was for 95p, again another online order, and I received £92.85, which means Shopify took a transactional fee of £2.15. Lastly, this was a purchase in person transaction that I managed to find from like a pop-up that I've done, and the transaction was for £220 and I received £216.25. So the transaction fees that Shopify took for this in-person purchase was £3.75. Now, if you remember the first transaction that I spoke of, which was £130.52, the transactional fees for that was £6.77, whereas this 220 was a lot more, but the transaction fees were a lot less, which means that the POS, obviously they don't take as much money. I have another pop-up example. So on my card reader for a pop-up I did, the total transactions that were made using my card reader from Shopify were 3,633 pence, and I ended up receiving £3,570 and 46 pence, which means that the transactional fees were £65 and 24 pence. Now guys, please tell me, how do you feel about some of these transactional fees? Because I feel like it's a lot. I feel like it really does add up. So if I add up the 6 transactions, so for those 6 transactions that total approximately £662, Shopify has taken £18.60 out of all of those transactions. And going through each of those numbers, comparing the fees, I'm not really seeing a pattern. I'm not really seeing how much Shopify actually takes, because let's take 90 for example. So they say they take 2% plus 25p, right? So if I pop into my calculator, 90, and I times that by 2%, that's £1.80, and then they say they add 25 pence. Okay, that actually works out. That works out. Let's try another one. Let's take the 130.52 and times by 2% plus 0.25. See, that one doesn't add up, because as you can see, that came to £2.86. That's how many fees I should be expecting, but Shopify actually took £6.77. Now I don't know whether it's because it's an international order. I am not quite sure, but if you guys have got a better understanding, then please definitely comment it down below, because it's going to help me out and it's probably going to help somebody else out that's watching this video. What I will say though is Shopify does have a 0 transactional fee for orders processed via PayPal, but PayPal charges their own transactional fees. So if you'd like me to go through some of the transactional fees in relation to PayPal, then definitely let me know. But to be honest, when I look at the figure as a whole, and I'm looking at that £662 total order with the £18.60 transactional fees, it doesn't actually seem that bad, and I feel like Shopify is still a really good option. So just keep in mind that you're not only paying £25 a month for the basic plan, you are also paying some of these transactional fees as well. So guys, I really hope that this video has been helpful. I know it's probably kind of like a random one, but I feel like somebody in my comments actually asked for this video, which is why I decided to film it in the first place. So yeah, please guys, be sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video if you like it. Let's discuss what I asked us to discuss in the comments, because I feel like it could help somebody else out, and I will definitely catch you guys in my very next video. Bye.